Hello, residents of MeepleTown. Welcome back to a MeepleTown mini review. We are going to be looking at, oh my goodness, the Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. If you can see off of that glare there, this is a giant box where you are going to be dungeon crawling, starting off in the world of the Red Dragon Inn. Now, I have not played any of those other Red Dragon Inn games, so this is a really brand new experience for me. But this game is a little bit different anyway, from my understanding. This is a dungeon crawler, whereas those other ones, I don't know if they are. I don't think they are, but I don't have anything to back that up. I just know that this is a dungeon crawling game, and it is a good one. So in this game, you're going to be reading from the story. You're going to start off with this walkthrough book that kind of walks you through the first couple scenarios to kind of baby step you through. Similar, I guess, to like the Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, how it kind of walks you through these different mechanisms. This does that same thing, and then it just kind of, lets you go and run with the game. But this one doesn't have as many complex rules as some of those other ones. Now, that could be a very good or a very bad thing for you. It's not that it's not complex. It's not that there's not interesting decisions to be made. It's just that, you don't have to have a bazillion rules to make it an interesting and fun game at the same time. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I enjoy from this, and then kind of give some of my thoughts, maybe even some things that I don't like along the way. A couple things that I enjoy. One is this is just a fun, story-driven dice chucker. For me, that's what I want in a lot of my dungeon crawlers. Sometimes, I got to be honest, sometimes some of them get too complex and there's too many weeds to kind of wade through. That's not this game at all. This game gives you a good story. It also gives you interesting decisions, but doesn't necessarily give you a billion rules on top of that. Now, there are a lot of rules and there's a lot of cool things going on. One, I mentioned the dice chucking that's going on. That's based on your the items that you have. Is based on your character and the actions that you take. But the cool thing is you are going to be drawing from a bag that determines the player order. So it might be me, it might be one of the villain characters that's going, another player. When I activate, I'm going to be activating the different abilities that are listed on my card. And I can do my actions, and then I can do another kind of a different action along shenanigans action, I guess. And when you take your actions, it might be doing things like moving and attacking, or just attacking, or healing, or whatever that is. And I like that because it's pretty simple to just know. Look down at your cards, look to see your abilities, and then do those things based on your actions. Flip that tile over, and then do another action, and shenanigans action potentially, and then move on from there. The way that this game plays out is very simple. Sorry, going back to the dice chucking. So based on the action that you take, you're going to roll your dice, and then you will just do the things based on it. So if you hit, that sort of thing. Now, I love exploding dice, or and this is called critical hits, or there's lots of different names that you have for the way that it is. I always call it exploding dice. But basically, if you roll a crit, then you get to count that as a hit, and then roll again, and then keep doing that as long as you roll crits. And I love that in games. I just think it adds so much more possibility, I guess. You never feel like you're out of something because you can potentially always roll those crits and then keep those actions going. You also have a cooldown mechanism that I really enjoy. So if I take an action that costs so much cooldown, I'll put some hourglass tokens on that, and then they'll come off every round, but I can't take that action again until it's clear of those cooldown tokens, and then I can take it again. Now, there's other ways of cooling it down faster, usually taking other actions that allow you to do that, which is cool too, but that's the gist of how those work. You also have these charge tokens. Some actions that you take, they won't have a cooldown mechanism, but they will have a charge, and I can only use this so many times throughout the entire game, or throughout that scenario that I'm playing, unless I'm putting new charge tokens on that. And so you really want to do some management of those and not spend them all too quickly. There's also lots of different ways to mitigate everything, and I really like too the villains. You roll a dice to determine the way the actions are going to play out that turn for them, and I like that they're not doing the exact same thing every time, but there is a little bit of an element of the unknown of what's going to happen when I roll this dice. How are they going to react or interact this turn? That's a really cool thing for me. Now, the miniatures in this game are really cool. All the heroes have miniatures. The villains are just cardboard standees, similar to if you've played, again, Gloomhaven. It's that same style. Some people don't like that. I'm fine with it, even though I love painting miniatures. usually if I have a game that has a ton of villains, I don't want to, or minions or whatever, I don't want to have a lot of things I want to have to paint. I would rather just paint the heroes and then, be able to just throw those other ones out as they come out. Plus there's no spoilers in that because you're not painting them and seeing them beforehand. So lots of cool things still to unlock in this game. I feel like I've just kind of scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. The maps are just these fold out large pieces of paper that fit inside a folder, which is really nice. I don't like having to put those different cardboard pieces together and making the map. I want to just throw it out there and get started, and that's what this game is. So if you want a dungeon crawler game that I would say, I don't even know if it is, I would say on the lighter side, but it's the rules aren't difficult to grasp, but I always feel like I'm making interesting decisions. I don't feel like it's light in the sense of nothing matters. I do think things matter, and for me, it's just a lot of fun. So if that sounds like fun to you, something that you would enjoy, if you like dungeon crawlers, if you want something that might be a little bit lighter on the rule set, but still a ton of fun, this is one that I highly recommend. Can play with kids as well. I do think that if you have kids that can, do a little bit of reading, you can read most of the scenario things, but if they can read the cards, then they can play this. And it's not super rule heavy anyway. The iconography is done really well. So that's it for this review of, again, this giant box of Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. If that sounds like something that you would like, check it out. For me, this is a purchase, knowing that it's on the expensive side of games too, but I still really love it, and I'll play it whenever it's at the table. So that's something you enjoy. Check this one out, Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. Until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our Patreon supporters for making content like this possible. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/MeepleTown. To follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, find us at MeepleTown Games. Finally, to connect with us and other residents of MeepleTown, you can join Guild 3407 at BoardGameGeek.com. Until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.